All right, peace, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Giving double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me his truth. And giving double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into a lesson that's going to be quote unquote controversial. Is because it's not going to be according to what people are used to. It took me a while because I had a brother that DM'd me on Facebook. I believe he's living in Africa, and he wants to know how to keep the feast days properly, right? And I was going to give the whole spiel of Leviticus and all these different books and stuff like that on how we're supposed to keep the feast days. But the one thing about me that I try to do, I'm not always successful at this, but I know for myself that I have a good heart, right? I was talking to one of my elders and he was saying, look, you got to sometime give people things on, you have to appease people at the level that they at. And it took me a minute to digest that. And I agree with it to a certain extent. But the one thing that I don't want to do is I don't really want to lie to the people. Is because a lot of our people have been lied to by the slave master, and we have been lied to by our own people for monetary gain and to put our people in some type of captivity under these different denominations, and sometimes even in our own way of life dealing with religion. All right? So I'm going to go over a lesson today. I'm going to be dealing with this, talking about keeping the feast days or how to keep the feast days, right? But like I said, it's not going to be according to the traditional way of how we do things, right? And you will see what I mean by that when we doing a lesson. So let's look at this, right? We at the 12th chapter of the book, because for the nation of Israel, the so-called Negro, this is where all of this stuff begins when we talk about keeping the feast days, right? It starts in the 12th chapter of the book of Exodus. So let's look at this and let's analyze this. And this is not going to be like a long lesson and stuff like that, because this is going to be an ongoing discussion, right? It may be a couple of months when we're talking about this, because what I want to do is I want to engage the viewing audience that probably listen to this, right? I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to put this on Facebook and things of this nature. And whoever vibe with it, that's fine. Even with the people that disagree, right? But this discussion is going to be had is because this is where we at with it today, right? So, so with no further ado, let's read from the first chapter. Now, you see the term Lord in the Bible. Now, I'm not going to be using that word is because that's not the name of the Creator. See, Some people like to say Yahweh. Some people like to say Yahweh. I like to say Yehovah or Yahweh or Yah. See, that these are the names that I'm going to use. Is because that's the name of the Creator. Even if you call him Yahweh or Yahweh. See, Yah, the tetragrammaton. See, that's not Jesus. That's not Yahshua. See, these are not the gods of the nation of Israel. And one of the things for us to return back to the Creator, we have to understand what is his name. See, who was the nation of Israel calling of? Who did Moses come to the nation of Israel saying who their God was? Because you got to understand that we was in captivity under the Egyptians, right? And for the amount of years that we was in captivity under the Egyptians, we knew who we were, but we weren't following the Creator like that. See, because we had immersed ourselves in the Egyptian or the Kemetic culture. This is what we was doing. We was living like the heathens. But when Moses came, right, and brought us back to the Creator, then we started a revolution to leave captivity, because we was in slavery under these folks, right? But before we was in slavery, before we became enslaved unto the Egyptians, we was in prominent positions of power. We was going to school. We was doing all type of stuff. But and see, we was doing those things before we became slaves in Egypt, because we was living in the land of Goshen. See, the Pharaoh during that time is because our ancestor Joseph, he was the head over the economics in Egypt. And before, when we came from our land and we entered into the land of Egypt, they gave us a land. That was Goshen, right? We was living over there. We was going to school. We was in prominent positions. We was living deliciously over there until another Pharaoh that didn't have no respect for the nation of Israel came into power. He saw us in different positions of power in Egypt, and what happened? They started the situation of destroying us as a nation of people, and then they put us in slavery. So this is the Creator using Moses and Aaron as a tool to bring us out of Egypt. And believe it or not, brothers and sisters, we in modern day Egypt today. And the modern day Egypt that we in today is the Euro-Gentile world power system. This is where we at. This is the modern day Egypt for us today, is because we're not in no type of power. But the only difference is for us is we don't know who we are as a nation of people. See, we don't know who we are. We still struggling with that. And the ones that know who they are as a nation of people, it's our responsibility to go out here and teach our people who they are, because we the modern day Moseses, we the modern day Aarons, we the modern day Isaiahs, all the prophets that was before. See, they here today, brothers and sisters. Daniel, the 12th chapter, I believe the 12th or the 13th verse, it says that what? Matter of fact, let's get it. let's turn to Daniel, the 12th chapter, because I don't want to say something that's not according to what Daniel had said. Let's turn to Daniel, the 4th chapter, 12th chapter, 12th chapter, book of Daniel, the 13th verse. It says, but go thy way till the end be, right? Because Daniel, he gonna die. For thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot in the end of days. We're in the end of days today. So who was the Creator talking to? He wasn't talking to the identity of Daniel. He was talking to who? The spirit of Daniel. The spirit that's in Daniel. This is who the Creator was talking to. So that spirit that was in Daniel during this time is the same spirit that's on the scene today. See? So Daniel is here today. I don't know exactly who Daniel is, but the spirit of Daniel is here today because he got to stand. See, he got to preach the same thing that he was preaching during his time, which is what? The destruction and the dismantling of the Gentile world power system. And that's indicative for Daniel and all the prophets that was on the scene during their time. They here today. See? So let's turn back to Exodus, the 12th chapter. And I'm going to be reading from the first verse. And it says, and Yah spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months, and it shall be the first month of the year to you. So this is us in Egypt. This is the Creator preparing, because he's finna do a miracle. See, he's going to destroy all the firstborn sons of the pharaohs. Not the Pharaoh. He's going to destroy all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians in the land. Even Pharaoh's firstborn son. He's going to destroy him too. It's because they have the nation of Israel in captivity. So we're in captivity in Egypt. Moses and Aaron is instructing the nation of Israel that the first month of the year, he's given us the beginning of the months. It says, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. And it said, it shall be the first month of the year to you. See, he didn't give us January the 1st. It says, speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel. And the congregation is just what? See, they not sitting in no church or nothing like that. He's talking to he's telling Moses, because the congregation is nothing but a group of people. He's talking to the nation of Israel. He's telling Moses to tell the nation of Israel, thus saith Yah. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, and say, in the 10th month of this month shall they take them every man a lamb, right? According to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. But let's go back to verse 2, because let's look at the commentaries. It says, first month, this month of Abib or Nisan, because during their time, they knew when the first month of the year started. They knew when the new year started, because Moses was a well-educated so-called black man that was living amongst the Egyptians. Because we know the story. Moses was in a sense, he was adopted by the Pharaoh's daughter, because his mother had to put him in the river. Basically, it was a setup so that Pharaoh's daughter can see him, and they was going to see if she was going to have compassion on him, so that she can basically take him and raise him as her own son. Because during this time, see, the Jews talk about the Holocaust, right? Which was a devastating situation for those people. But see, this is our Holocaust too. This is one of them. It's because under the Egyptians, they was killing all the male sons. It's because they wanted to wipe away the legacy of the nation of Israel off of the face of the planet. See, they wanted to do that. So you had a lot of the pharaohs. They was killing the sons. They was killing all the male sons, and they was keeping the women. Why is that? Because they understand that the man carries the seed. So if you keep all the women the female children, and raise them up into adulthood, and then you start having sex with them, that's not an Israelite. See? That's an Egyptian. It's because the male carries the seed. So what was going on? This was a Holocaust towards our people. So they trying to kill all the firstborn. I mean, not the firstborn. They trying to kill all the male children and get rid of them. See, get them out the way. Because, like I said, we had positions of power in Egypt during that time. See, we went to school. We was educated, right? We was living, just like we living in modern day Egypt today. See, the only difference is we knew that we was Israel during that time. During this time, we don't know. It's because the Creator took that away from us, right? So it says, this is the month of Abib, or Nisan, in the Hebrew religious calendar. It correlates to the modern months of March and April, right? But let's see what the Most High says about this, right? Because that right there, even though during the Gregorian calendar that we up under today, they on point to a certain degree, but see, we don't even know when the first year of spring is during the time of March, see? Because according to the Gregorian calendar, I think March out here in the U.S., the new year in terms of the U.S., I think it starts March 21st or something like that, right? And then I remember when I was a child, they said, we used to celebrate April Fool's Day, because when I came into the truth in 2003, a lot of people were saying it's because April 1st is really the new year. So this is why they have it marked as March or April, is because the Jews, which the Creator allowed to preserve our history, because we was going to lose the history, because these are some of the times that they keep the quote-unquote feast days, right? But see, the Jews is not even keeping it right. It's because they're not the true ambassadors of the truth. So let's look at this. Let's turn to the book of Hosea, the 2nd chapter, in the 11th verse. I'm not going to be too long with this video, I'm just going to go over some things real quick. The book of Hosea. Hosea, the 2nd chapter and the 11th verse. I just want to go over this quick verse. I'm gonna read verses 11 through 13. It says, I will. This is Yah speaking. Yah is saying, it says, I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts. Right? Why is the Creator doing this? It's because the 12th verse, I will destroy her vines, her fig trees, whereof she have said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. Why is he saying that? It's because our country, our land, our city is going to be invaded by the heathens. See, they're going to invade these lands. And they're going to do what? They're going to start setting up their customs and traditions. And this is what's going on today. And it says, I will visit upon her the days of Balaam, whereas she burned incense to them, and she decked herself with her earrings and her jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgot me, saith Yah. See? Well, when she talking about she, who's she talking about? She talking about Israel. See, we forgot about the Creator. See, we was worshiping the gods of the other nations. So as a result of this, what is the Creator says? I will cause her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts. See? So what is the Creator saying? The Creator is telling us that what? You're not going to be able to keep your feast days like your ancestors did. It's because you're finna go into captivity. And see, in captivity, brothers and sisters, you can't keep the feast days. And I know it's hard for you brothers to understand this because I've been in the truth for almost 22 years. We was doing those type of things in our ignorance, right? But the Creator had us to come out of Egypt and to reintroduce us back to the Creator, and the Creator gave us his feast days because they're not our feast days, they're the Creator's feast days. And we was keeping them in the wilderness is because why? We kept them in the wilderness is because that was the beginning stages of us having freedom to worship the Creator, how the Creator wanted us to worship him. We can't do that in captivity. Now, I'm not saying that we can't keep certain aspects of the commandments, right? You don't have to kill your brother. You don't have to defraud your neighbor. You don't have to rape your brothers and sisters. I'm not saying that, but we're talking about the feast days, see? Why did the Creator says that your feast days and your Sabbath is going to cease is because you're not going to be able to do them like the ancestors did it in their own land, because it was a sense of freedom that we would be able to worship the Creator how the Creator saw fit. We can't do that in the land today, brothers and sisters. It says this is the month of Abib or Nisan in the Hebrew religious calendar. It correlates to the modern months of March and April. For more information on the Hebrew religious calendar, see Leviticus 23:2. Let's turn to Leviticus. And then we're going to cut this segment off. Then we're going to get into, I may spend maybe an hour the next time dealing with this, 50 minutes. Let's turn to the book of Leviticus 23 and 2. See, because we was still this is us in the wilderness, brothers and sisters. Let's look at this. Feast of Yah, the Sabbath, and the feast days, right? Or the feast. It says, and Yah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yah, which ye shall proclaim to be a holy congregation. Even these are my feasts. So, the Christian church talk about these the feast, the 613 laws that was given to Moses, even though you can't even find that in Scripture. See, you can't find 613, all of that stuff. See, that's religion, y'all. See, it's probably more commandments than 613, brothers and sisters. But the whole point is this. These are my feasts. Who's saying this? This is the Creator. The Creator is telling the nation of Israel that the feast days are His. So what we're going to do is, matter of fact, let's go back to Exodus before we cut this off. We have the 3rd verse of the 12th chapter of the book of Exodus. Let's read. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. So after the new year, the first day of the new year, you got to count 10 days. On the 10th day of the first month, then you're going to get a lamb, right? And it says, if the house be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish. A male of the first year, ye shall take it and eat it from the sheep or from the goats. Now let's look at this. Let's turn to Ezekiel 13 chapter. I think it's the Ezekiel the 13. I'm going to try to find it real quick. If I can't, we're going to go back to that. Ezekiel. I think it's the 13th chapter. I'm going to see it. Let's see. I don't think it's the 13th chapter. No, it's not the 13th chapter. Let me try to find this real quick. 1 second. I think I know it when I see it. Oh, there you go. We have Ezekiel, the 4th chapter, and the 13th verse. It says, and Yah said, thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread amongst the Gentiles, whether I will drive them. So why did I go to this scripture? I went to this scripture is because a lot of us is thinking, because it says in Exodus, we back in Exodus, the 12th chapter, when it says, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year, ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. That's why the Creator said that your mirth, your feast days, all of that stuff is going to cease, is because why? We're eating defiled bread amongst the Gentiles, y'all. We don't even know. We're not farmers no more. We don't even know when we going to get these goats or these sheep from these heathens, these Jews. We don't even know if they're giving us a sheep that is without blemish. See, we don't even know that. And a lot of times they are giving us sheep that have blemishes on it. Because why? They don't recognize you as them people. And even if they do, your meat, all your products is what? Is defiled. Is because the earth is defiled. They done destroyed the water. They destroyed the air. They have destroyed the food. See? The vegetables, the fruit, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do certain things, but the Creator said that He said that for a reason. It's because we're living amongst what you would call the bases of men. These people don't care about nothing. They don't even care about human life, y'all. So when we kept because this is the beginning, because the Creator's finna do what? He's finna kill all the male children in Egypt. Your lamb shall be without blemish. A male of the first year, ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. See? Now, a lot of us in Israel, because we're thinking that we're doing the right thing, a lot of us don't even keep this is the Passover. The 14th day of the first month is the Passover to the nation of Israel. A lot of us is keeping the Passover on different months, brothers and sisters. So the Passover is supposed to be a national event. All the feast days is supposed to be a national event for the nation of Israel, and we're supposed to keep this in our land. See? But before we get to the land, we're going to have to keep these ordinances in the wilderness again. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do this. So the whole point of us reading this is for us to understand how to properly do things. Not so much of us keeping the feast days in captivity. Why would we want to keep the feast days in captivity amongst the heathens? See, that's a no-no. So the Creator said, ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly and the congregation of Israel shall kill it in evening. See? So you got a lot of us, because we're hard-headed and stiff-necked, we're keeping the feast days in captivity in error, brothers and sisters. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this off, and we're going to come back to it on a later date. I think either Wednesday or Thursday, maybe both days. So with that being said, peace, shalom.